everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be painting some free and easy flowers like this. And I was just looking at my comments on our channel just now. Sorry about the flashing lights, didn't mean to do that. And a lady just said that she was sitting listening to our birds singing in the background in one of the older videos. She was watching the Tree of Life section of the long Whimsical Birds video that we just put up just recently, which you might want to take a look at. That's really nice, long 4.5 hours of our channel all in one place for you there. Anyway, so she just made a comment, this lady, and so I was replying to her. And underneath that comment, I noticed there was a comment from Posie Sutton, and I just want to remember Posie today because she said in her message here, in addition to the countless things you teach us about watercolor painting, one of the qualities you have is helping us not to take ourselves or our expectations for ourselves too seriously. In my own personal experience while working with you, is that I have permission to lighten up and enjoy the trip. It changes the mindset and opens up the imagination. Isn't that so lovely? And I so appreciated her words, and she really helped me to know that what I was doing was worthwhile when I started the channel. That was 1 year ago that she said that. There's nothing better to help us. Your students from your past were lucky to have had you. I apologize for the diatribe, but I want you to remember how much you impact all of us lucky enough to have found you. Thank you again. Now to get paper and to do a tree with birds. And I wanted to mention that because I think about Posie often. I never met her, but she was a loyal follower of the channel. And unfortunately, not long after this message was sent, she found that she was diagnosed with terminal illness, and she's since left us and passed on to a better place. But that's really quite sad, but also very uplifting to know that I was able to help her in her painting. And she was quite gifted. She was a musician and very gifted and creative and artistic and everything. And so rest in peace, Posie. So that's my tribute to one of our followers. I need to get on with my painting now. Yesterday I did this. I was just playing around and I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And I did it on a piece of Bockingford paper. And just recently, quite a few people have been asking me about what paper and paint to use. I'll put those out of the way. And as you know, I often recommend Meeden watercolor paper. And because a couple of reasons. One is that I do have a relationship with them. And when you buy some from them, it helps support our channel, which is great. You know, everybody has to live. I've heard recently that some people resent the idea that creators on YouTube ask for money. That's not very kind, is it? Because I spend most of my life, actually, far too much of my life, doing this channel because it's my only source of income. And so when Meeden approached me and said, would we like to represent them on our channel, I said, definitely. And they've been more than generous with the things that they've shared with me in terms of materials. Anything I want, I ask for, and they send it free of charge. And they are a very good company for you to work with too, and you can trust them. This watercolor paper that I've been recommending comes in 3 sizes and 3 textures now. And this is the cold press, which we use most often. It's 100% cotton. And I just wanted to do a comparison here with another paper which I've always used, which I like very much, which is Bockingford. Now, in terms of price, what is amazing is that if you buy a 12x9 pad block glued all the way around of Meeden, that's 100% cotton, and that will cost you $1.40 per sheet. This is a smaller sheet, but the 12x9s, $1.40 a sheet for Meeden. And if you buy Bockingford, the same size is $1.60. Now, obviously, it's less than that if you buy it in the big sheet and you cut it up yourself, which is what I did here. But if you buy the block, it's $1.60. So $1.60 for Bockingford. Now, Bockingford is cellulose. It's very, very high quality cellulose paper. It's archival. It won't fade or go yellow or do anything nasty. It's extremely good texture, very reliable. I like painting on it very much. And this little painting here was done on Bockingford. But on the other hand, this is 20 cents a sheet less, and it's 100% cotton. So you have a choice. You know, if you buy Meeden, you're going to get 100% cotton. This paper is also very good. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to replicate this painting on these two pieces of paper. I'm going to do them side by side. I'm going to do it this way round instead of the other way round, because this way it fits on my screen. And I'm going to see at the end of it if I can tell any difference. Now, first of all, first thing I notice when I look here is that the Bockingford is a little bit whiter than the Meeden. When you put them side by side, there's a fractional difference here. This is just a little bit brighter than this in terms of how white it is, which may or may not bother you or affect you either way. This is going to obviously give a bigger contrast with colour. This is perhaps a little bit more authentic, a bit more like something like Archie's paper. Now, I'm going to use my Viviva paints because they're clear and clean and bright. This is a new winter palette, and here we have a very new spring palette, which is, I think, what I'm going to use. These are the colours. That painting there, the one I'm going to copy, I did using this one, and this one I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use that one. I'll put that there. And this one can go over here. I haven't used this really yet. I just did it, did this, the swatch. I have to label everything because it doesn't say spring on it. Anyway, I'm going to use my Drawwell brushes. These are available from Japan direct if you want to go and buy them. I do not have an affiliation with them. I just like their brushes. I can recommend them. They're extremely cheap, but they are handmade and they are very good. And I use these more often than anything else, even more often than my own Craftmo ones, because I'm so familiar with them. You know how it is. It's a bit like, you know, when you drive a new car, you don't really want to be bothered with it, but you just want to drive your old car. Right, so let's get started. And what I did yesterday was I just picked up some colour. I sat down and I began to paint. So let's do that. It's a good idea, isn't it? Let's relax and do that. And think about all our friends, present and past. So, let me see. I'm going to start at this end, and what I'm going to do is I'm just literally going to try to do the same thing on both sheets of paper. And you can see for yourself what happens. And so, of course, they won't both be identical, will they? Because nothing is ever identical. Doesn't matter how hard you try, but it's I've never ever done anything like this before. So we'll see how it goes. When I say, obviously, I've done flowers before, but I haven't done it like this, trying to do two simultaneous paintings. And I was thinking, after I'd done what I did yesterday, I'm hoping there's a violet here. I'm not sure if there is. Let's go for this then instead. Oh, that's a bit pale. That's no good. Let's go to our other set, because I want a nice strong painting. I don't want to go down the road of wishy-washy. So we'll put that. Yeah, this is the kind of painting where you keep everything very strong and dark, and then if you want afterwards to, I'm going to put some blue with a bit of that, to do, what do you call it? Embellishments, so to say line work. That's the word I'm looking for. On top, you've got some nice flat colour to embellish. I'm looking for a nice red, so yeah, that one will do. I want that red with a bit of orange in it. There we are, and we want that there. This is very therapeutic, as you can probably tell. I needed this morning. I was just finding that thing from Posie kind of a little bit upset me because, yeah, I mean, she said, don't be sad for me. I'm over 80. I've had a good run, so to speak. She said something like that. So don't be sad for me. But I think we have a right to be sad for people when they go. It's interesting, actually, doing this because let's do a nice small one here. There is a different feel. There's definitely a different feel to the paper. The Meeden is a little bit less smooth, I think I would say. I'm going to go for a really dark violet now. Yeah, I would say that it's, yeah, you can see how I'm getting dry brush effect there very easily. I'll just do the whole of this flower here. And getting a lot of dry brush. And if I come in to this one and do the same thing, and I think that's to do with the sizing. The sizing is the glue that they use to make the paper obedient. I think that the sizing must be what makes the difference. So I'm going to now put some semicircles in like I did, oops, on the one yesterday. Coming over the edge there like this. Sort of a bit like the sun. This is just great fun, you know, do this with the grandkids. Have fun and play around. Just be free. I've been listening to a few YouTubers recently who seem to have taken it upon themselves to tell people what to think about themselves, you know, why you haven't found your style yet. Well, who's to say that you haven't? Who's to say that they know why you haven't if you haven't? Who's to say? Who has the right? Tamsin said to me, how dare they? And I'm like, yeah, you know, how dare they? How dare they think? How dare anyone think that they have the right to tell anyone anything about their painting? It's just not on, in my opinion. So I'm going to stop there and not say any more about that. But I think people who are on YouTube painting, like me, ought to stick with the painting. And yeah, it's okay to meander through your life and talk about going to the dentist and all that kind of thing. But don't tell people what to do with their painting journey. Don't tell them how to do things. Don't say that you're the only one who knows or that you're going to give them the secret to the universe, because you're not, you know, you really, really aren't. Anyway, that's that. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Keep it free and easy is what I say. Preferably as free as possible. I'm looking for a green here. I don't know if I'd call that green. Would you call that green? I think this might be green. It's a kind of muddy green. Let's make it a bit more bright. Okay, so that's what we have so far on those two. The great thing about this, of course, is it's in a block, so it's not warping. But if you bought the Bockingford block, you wouldn't have the warping because it would be the same. So we'll just carry on here. There is a difference. And I suppose I'm more used to working on what do you call it? On cheap paper. So it feels more familiar. Right, I'm going to put in some stems and some leaves. Yeah, this you need to use more water. You need to use more water in this one than you do on this one. To get the same effect, I mean. This sheet is a tiny bit smaller as well, so we're just a little tiny bit more cramped. And when you do this kind of painting, you're going to probably think at this point, I know I always do, I always think at this point, what on earth have I done? But don't, you don't need to think that. Just keep going and enjoy the process, enjoy the strokes. Whatever your strokes are, they are yours, and that's the main thing. And one of the things I really like about this is when you get these wonderful bleeds like that. I'm going to start putting some yellow in the centers here, and I'm not trying to stick to the center because I'm going to put some darker colors in a minute around the outside edge, and start to sort of shape these up a little bit with some lines. And don't forget that this has got to be green. We want some blue. Is that blue? Yeah, oh, that's a nice green. Yes, that's good. I haven't got room for a leaf there. This is very dry, isn't it? Yeah, so we'll go back to the red and let us put in some design elements. This is where you get to have fun. Just do whatever turns you on, as we used to say. And I've got the red on my brush, so I'm going to put my lines on my tulips. And then I think I'll go back to the green and do a stem for that one. And this one. I hardly looked at my original. I should come up here with a bit more. I hardly looked at the original, and I'm going to just make it up again as I go along. I'm not going to call it an original. It's not an original. What's an original, for goodness sake? My first version of this. Okay, and I want to make this colour, this brown here with purple gives you quite a nice chestnutty kind of colour. Don't know if any of you have a problem with your hand going numb when you're painting. I do, because I had an operation on my right arm years ago, and they must have caught a nerve or something, and ever since then, whenever I do anything like this, after about half an hour, I start to get sort of tingling in my fingers. Ugh. but it's okay. We just carry on regardless. Okay, and we want some green. I mean, overall, as I'm going on here, I'm sort of thinking, actually, there's not a great deal of difference between the two papers. This texture is rougher than this one somehow. But that's about it, really. Let's put a few more. Half leaves in the side here, sort of keeping the leaves kind of green. Okay, and then having got to this point, what I'm thinking is I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to try using my Tombow pen. Sorry, I forgot your centers. To put some lines on to see how each one of these behaves by comparison with each other. I'm just going to add some nice dark purple to these things and some dark brown to this one and here and here. Oops. Yeah, this paper takes more water, so that's interesting to know. Yeah, it does, definitely absorbs the water more. However, I think the colours are marginally brighter on this one. I don't know if you get that sense. I think this one bleeds less. This one has a slightly more fuzzy effect to the bleeds than this one. There's a little bit more. I think so. That's interesting. This is much cleaner, isn't it? This is brighter than this. So I think the Meeden is brighter. The result of it is brighter than the Bockingford, although they're both quite nice. But having said that, this was my one yesterday, which is perfectly bright. So maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I mean, you couldn't say that that's not bright, could you? So, but it bleeds a little bit more. Maybe I just ended up using a bit more water on this one. Okay, I'm going to dry that. So these are dry now, and I've got a Kuretake Fudenosuke Tombow pen here, which is the sort that the brush has a sort of slightly soft nib. So when you press down hard, you get you can go from a thin line to a thicker line, like that, or like that, just by pressing. I think it's meant for calligraphy and so on, but I don't use it for that. I would use it for doing lines on my paintings. And so that's what I'm going to do. I think you have to be a little bit brave when it comes to this, because you have to sort of just kind of go with the flow, so to speak. So where do you start? Well, anywhere, wherever you feel. And Do it a little bit flicky, perhaps. So press and then release, and you get interesting lines. You don't want to sort of just slavishly follow the line. You can, when you see something like that, you might go, I know what that needs. That needs to have a spiral in it. And you might then think, I don't like that. And you might think, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether I like it or not, but you might think, I think I'll just paint the center of that. And you might do that. But whatever floats your particular boat. You could use watercolor pencils for this process. You might find, as I am, that the brush pen is a little bit restricted by the texture of the paper, but you can let that be beneficial. You don't have to worry about that. You can say, yeah, well, that's just the way it is. And see, you can get nice, interesting effects like that. Just relax and let happen whatever wants to happen. Whatever that might be. It will not be wrong. Pigeons are singing out there. They say, it's all right, baby. It's all right, baby. I was talking to Denise Zimmer on the phone yesterday, and she was watching her hummingbirds out of the window. And I was thinking, I wish you'd turn the camera around, Denise. Then I would have been able to see them. And then she sent me this morning a picture of a nest, of hummingbird nest, which was nice. So, look, see, you can get some really good effects there. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, yes. Thank you, Tombow. Yeah, I always look at these paintings and I think, I don't know if I can bear to put ink on it. But usually by the time I've started, I think, yeah. That was the right thing to do. You see, so we can have the same thing here. Look at that. Oh, that's really quite cool. But don't do it everywhere. That's something somebody told me once. Don't do it everywhere. Whatever it is you're doing, even if you love it, don't do it everywhere. Just do it some places, not everywhere. That's a very good point. It's a bit like mascara. When we used to wear makeup and used to put mascara on. Don't put on too much. A little goes a long way. I can still remember one time when I was going out one evening with my family. I don't know that I was even married. And I can still remember myself in front of the mirror in my mother-in-law, future mother-in-law's bedroom, putting mascara on and going too far and thinking, oh my God, I look like a panda. But of course it was the 60s or the early 70s and everybody looked like a panda in those days. I don't know why that stuck in my mind. I think I felt a bit self-conscious about the amount of mascara I'd put on my eyes. But I had nice eyes in those days. I had big green eyes, apparently. I don't anymore. Never mind. I don't miss being young. I don't. It's such a relief to know that you don't have to worry about keeping yourself alive for too many more years. There we go. And we're putting some leaves in here. Now, have I missed anything out? Nope, I think that's about it. My hand's gone numb. Oh, this one, of course. Right. I'm going to put dots in the middle. I'm going to do straight lines out like that. I think I probably should order some more of these pens. I think this one's starting to show its age. So there we are, that's that. And that, compared to, this is the way it was when it started. Right. Basically, it was the same, wasn't it? What do you think? Do you prefer it without lines or with lines? I know what I prefer. I'm much happier with that. Definitely, it has much more character. And so I think I'll probably have to go ahead and do this one too. Are you getting bored yet? My hand says, my goodness me, you are killing me today. Sometimes, because I have this problem with my right hand, it was a breast cancer operation. I had to partial, and I'm lucky, actually. I'm very lucky. I was actually, when I had my diagnosis, I was the same age that Catherine Middleton is. You know, the Princess of Wales. And isn't that awful? She is such a beautiful, lovely woman. I don't mean beautiful physically, although she is that too, but she's a very kind and wonderful example of womanhood. And I think that's pretty miserable, what's happened to her, that she's not well. I was afraid that was what it was, and I hope it's not a serious cancer. Hopefully it's just something like what I had, which I fully recovered from, thank goodness. It's just awful. Why am I saying this? I don't know. Oh, yeah, because I had this operation, and yeah, that has never gone away. Just want to put a little bit of paint in those leaf shapes there, and maybe around here. There we are. So you can always, once you've started with the line work, you might think, oh, yes, this is an idea. I'm going to do the same here in this one. I had a wonderful surgeon, and he didn't do me much harm. But I still have this strange pins and needles thing that happens in the arm when I paint. But that's okay. I'm still here. And I'm sure Catherine's going to be fine too. Let's add a little bit more colour to these ones. I'm doing this slightly different from the other one, just to keep you interested, because, you know. So let's use this trick here. But let's just do less is more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If you haven't got one of these pens, get one, and then try doing line work with it. It's absolutely a real game changer. It really is. It will loosen up your ability to do line work quite dramatically. So this one, should we do this one or this one? I shall do this first. It's a very satisfying feeling to press down. You press down and lift up, come back on the other side lighter, and you get these amazing. I'm going to do something slightly different here. And they all need little dots in the middle, and some of them need little jumpy out things as well. Let's do... My husband is trying to install a new heater. It's what they call them here, heat pumps, but it's actually a reverse, what do they call it? It's an air conditioning unit, and it heats as well as cools. Very efficient, uses much less electricity than our old system, so that's really good. And he spent all day yesterday drilling a hole in the wall, because our walls are 1 meter thick, believe it or not, and they're made of granite. So he literally was drilling for about 4 hours non-stop. And then when he finished, he said to me, "Oh, I think I've broken my thumb." I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh, no, not really. It's just, it's going to swell up." I said, "Why didn't you give it a break? You know, like, why didn't you just stop for a minute or an hour, or do some of it today? Not all of it in one go." But, you know, he just doesn't know when to stop. Anyway, I'm very grateful that he's able to do it. He's an engineer. He's not doing it as a kind of amateur. He knows what he's doing. He was a HVAC engineer when he worked in Canada and in the Bahamas and so on. So he knows what he's doing. Without him, I wouldn't be able to run the studio, to be quite honest, because the only way I can use this room is in the winter is because it's heated with the air conditioning. Last year it broke and he was away. He was in Egypt on business, and I couldn't be in here because, well, actually I did heat it because I had to be in here, but the other little heaters that we had, I'm not even going to, because I make you faint if I tell you how much the electricity bill was last year. Well, maybe I should. I mean, we were paying over €1,000 a month for the electricity to heat this room because the air conditioning broke. So if you wonder where your subscription money goes when you join and you become part of this, it goes into the coffers of the electricity companies in France, who are doing very well, thank you very much. This is such fun. I'm really enjoying this. Getting towards the end now. And then I will go into the house. Oh, did I tell you about Oriole? You know, my beautiful black and white cat that we rescued in Spain, ungrateful thing. He has decided that he's going to become top cat of the area here, and he keeps on trying to beat up every other cat that sets foot anywhere near his domain. And the trouble is, he's not a very good fighter, evidently, because he keeps coming home with bits missing. So he's had 3 fights in the last month, one of which was quite serious. And he had big holes in his back, which took a month to heal. And then 2 days ago, he went out. He was out 5 minutes, and he came back looking like he'd been rolling in, well, not mud, but dirty dust. He looked like he'd been up in the attic, you know. If you've got an attic in your house, it's often full of dust and stuff like that. He looked like he'd been rolling around in that kind of dust. And, of course, he had a hole in him, a couple of holes. I don't know. But he's okay. But he's cross because I won't let him go outside. Oriole, you are not allowed out until you learn either not to fight or to win your fights, basically. and you're not entitled to go out and, come back and expect to be treated with antibiotics and, He had to wear a T-shirt. We had him in a cone to start with, and then eventually we were able to graduate into a T-shirt that I made for him from the sleeve of an old T-shirt, and that was quite nice. He looked quite sweet. I'll show you a photo sometime. I think I want to do this here too. Well, I'm coming to the end, and I hope that you enjoyed this. I know I did. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications. It's very important that you turn on notifications. If you don't know how, YouTube will tell you, and you just have to go to your settings and ask it to notify you when something goes up of ours. Otherwise, they don't, and even if you do, they still sometimes don't. But it's, you should try and do that, and then you'll know when we put up a new video, which we do 3 times a week. And plus, as well as that, all of the shorts that I've been doing every day. There's a short that goes up in the morning, my time, about 9 o'clock if I can make it. I put up a short which is designed to go with the daily challenge. And if you become a member of Patreon or YouTube and you join our Facebook group, the private group, the Diane Antone Studio members group, then you'll see those going up on there, and you can share your works on there. And we appreciate that very much. We appreciate your support because we need it, as you know. And I'm just going to intensify. I did add to that, didn't I? But it seems to have died back. But anyway, we can add a little bit more. Right, there we are. 2 bright and cheerful paintings. They seem to go together. I think they probably could be put together. Nobody would know that it was on different paper, but this is the Meeden, this is the Bockingford. Highly recommend this. You can get it on Amazon in pads. Highly recommend this. It's 100% cotton, and when you buy that, use the Diane 10 code, and you get 10% off, and we get a bit of commission as well if you buy that one. So there we are then. I'll let you go now. Sorry to bend your ear all day long, and say a little prayer for those of us who are no longer with us, and I will see you again soon. So I'll say bye-bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye. Happy painting.